Political corruption, criminal activity, even treason are alleged to have been committed by former U.S. Secretary of State, former Senator, and former First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton. Whether these accusations concerned her political life, a string of dead bodies connected to her and Bill, her own family's involvement with fraud, or her involvement with foreign governments and the criminal profits made by the nonprofit Clinton Foundation, the controversies are never-ending. Clinton corruption goes very deep over several decades, and most Americans feel that the rich, powerful, and politically well-connected Democrats are above the law, and the Clintons are at the top of that list. So, let's take a look at Hillary Clinton. Who is Hillary Clinton? What launched her career? What are her scandals and alleged crimes? Who gave her political and legal cover? Hello, I'm Colin Heaton, former history professor, Army and Marine Corps veteran, and welcome to this episode of Forgotten History.
The beginning of the toughest 26 days in Marine Corps history.
With confidence in our armed forces.
36th President of the United States died this afternoon.
Tell them there are children and women in here to call it off.
Hillary Rodham Clinton was born on October 26, 1947 in Chicago, Illinois. She attended Maine East High School, Maine South High School, Wellesley College, Yale University, and Yale Law School. She worked as a staff attorney for Marion Wright Edelman's newly founded Children's Defense Fund in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and as a consultant to the Carnegie Council on Children. In 1974, Hillary worked as a staff attorney on the U.S. House Judiciary Committee's impeachment inquiry connected to Watergate that produced draft articles of impeachment against Richard Nixon. There are various stories as to why she left that position, from being dismissed after her work was completed to being fired for fraud and corruption. We may never know. She then moved to Arkansas and joined the faculty of the University of Arkansas Law School as one of the only two female faculty at the time. Clinton's first jury trial saw her represent a canning company in a lawsuit from a man who alleged that he had found part of a rodent in a can of pork and beans which they produced. The canning company she represented was ordered to pay only nominal damages in the trial. She also worked as a public defender, and she represented one of two men, Thomas Alfred Taylor, a 41-year-old man accused of sexually assaulting a 12-year-old girl named Kathy Shelton in 1975, who was stopped while riding her bike to church and beaten, assaulted, and dumped out of a truck. According to Shelton many years later, she stated that Hillary lied to the jury and tried to discredit her and degrade her, and then negotiated a plea deal for the defendant to receive unlawful fondling of a child under the age of 14, and he was sentenced to 1 year in a county jail and 4 years of probation. Hillary was caught on tape saying that she had her client take a polygraph test. He passed, she says, and adds with a chuckle, "It forever destroyed my faith in polygraphs." She has also been accused of laughing about Shelton, the victim, whom she accused of lying about the assault despite blood and semen evidence. Hillary married Bill Clinton on October 11, 1975, and shortly after became the first female associate in the Rose Law Firm in February 1977, when Bill Clinton was elected Attorney General. She was brought in by Bill Clinton's longtime friend, Vince Foster, and see our video on him, as well as attorney Webster Hubbell. In 1979, she became the first woman to be made a full partner at the Rose Law Firm. She represented Madison Guaranty, the failed savings and loan that collapsed in 1989, owned by James McDougal and his wife Susan, in what would become known as the Whitewater Development Scandal, where she and Bill were listed as defendants and represented by Vince Foster. During Bill Clinton's 1992 presidential campaign, she faced accusations of being the beneficiary of state business and no-bid contracts directed to the firm while Bill was governor. Great public scrutiny was given to her career at Rose Law Firm. As the Clintons left the White House in 2001, Hillary claimed that she and Bill were broke, despite the tens of millions of dollars they had collected through various sources. She also had to return furniture, cutlery, fine china, artwork, and many other items taken from the White House. The value of all the items was estimated to be about $200,000. Some media outlets, including PolitiFact, disputed that figure, though the number continued circulating publicly. Critics alleged the items were taken improperly, while other reporting suggested the Clintons may have misinterpreted which belongings were government property and which were their personal possessions. Another allegation tied to claims of family favoritism involved a no-bid contract connected to a company represented by her brothers, Tony and Hugh Rodham. That firm received roughly $43 million in Pentagon funding to construct a natural gas fueling station in Sheboran, Afghanistan, during the period when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State. A later cost review concluded the project should have cost no more than $500,000, raising questions about oversight and no-bid contracting practices without proper oversight. Converting a car to CNG was estimated to be around $700 to $800, roughly a year's income for many Afghans. The U.S. paid to convert 120-plus vehicles without evidence that any others were converted on their own. There is no evidence that any basic feasibility work was done before committing big money, despite Afghanistan lacking the distribution infrastructure needed to make CNG fueling practical. Although it was run under the U.S. Department of Defense program called the Task Force for Business and Stability Operations, or TFBSO, and not the State Department, Hillary's influence in the deal was questioned, especially since the deal was not put up for bidding as required by law. There was no paperwork to explain the transaction, the contract, or even justify the payout for a station that existed and ran for at least a brief time, never making the money back. Fraud, anyone? There was no accountability under Barack Obama and no audit of Hugh Rodham. The U.S. couldn't explain the price tag or where the money went. The economic assessment found no discernible macroeconomic gains, and the fraud cost taxpayers at least $31 million. Hillary's involvement with the Benghazi disaster, which cost the lives of 4 Americans, was intertwined with Barack Obama and the CIA's weapons depository, as well as the orchestrated removal of Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi. This event started the investigation into Hillary's secret private server, which was in direct violation of U.S. federal law and national security. Hillary was running a pay-to-play operation from a basement server in Chappaqua. The investigation was led by then Attorney General Loretta Lynch, a friend of the Clintons and Obama, who assigned FBI Director James Comey to investigate. Comey knew that Congress was aware of the server, and they issued a legal subpoena to have Clinton hand over around 33,000 emails known to have been generated during her term in office. She refused, obstructed, and had aides destroy the evidence best they could, which are also federal crimes. Comey refused to prosecute Hillary on the basis that her actions were not intentional. Well, intent is not part of the criminal statute for national security violations or treason, only the crime itself, and she was in fact guilty, which Comey admitted, but he played politics as Hillary was then running for president on the Democrat ticket. Of interest, many of the incriminating emails Comey admitted to finding were worth decades in federal prison. In any other administration, this would be called espionage and conspiracy. It was the largest breach of national security in modern American history. In addition, when her aide, Huma Abedin's laptop was taken during the FBI probe into her then-husband, Representative Anthony Weiner, also known as Carlos Danger, as an online child predator, the deleted emails were found. In late September 2016, the FBI seized devices in an unrelated criminal investigation of Weiner. On the laptop, investigators discovered large cache of emails, including many associated with Huma Abedin, that could be relevant to the already closed Clinton email inquiry. The damage was far worse than anyone thought, and Comey, Obama, and Lynch knew it all along. Abedin still had most of them on the laptop, proving Hillary lied to Congress while under oath, stating that they were of a personal nature and not government work. The special access programs, very restricted for your eyes only to the White House, kind of dispute that fact. Hillary Clinton's private illegal server was designed to operate outside federal record-keeping, prevent oversight, remaining outside the reach of Freedom of Information Act requests and congressional subpoenas while she, Obama, and others in the deep state continued breaking federal laws. While Secretary of State, the Clinton Foundation received hundreds of millions in donations from foreign governments, oligarchs, and corporations that later received favorable policy decisions, arms deals, and uranium rights. Bill and Hillary had taken an estimated $145 million from Uranium One shareholders and executives and pushed that deal through, getting their kickbacks. The server wasn't hacked as the DNC and Hillary claimed, it was used as currency to foreign governments. That is treason. CIA Director John Ratcliffe has recently confirmed what many patriots have known for years. The Obama administration, through Loretta Lynch, ordered the FBI not to arrest Hillary Clinton for espionage, despite her clear violations of 18 U.S. Code 793, which could carry the death penalty. Barack Obama himself ordered the FBI and DOJ not to arrest and charge Hillary Clinton for espionage or any other crimes. Then, to divert attention from the email and Benghazi scandals, remember there was an election, Barack Hussein Obama and Hillary Clinton conspired to subvert the rule of law, using their power to shield their criminal empire from exposure. The criminal conspiracy that protected Hillary Clinton, Obama, and others manipulate justice and wage war against Donald Trump has now been fully exposed. The conspiracy went straight to the top. Lisa Page, former FBI lawyer and mistress to Peter Strzok, admitted under oath that the Department of Justice explicitly instructed the FBI to stand down with regard to Hillary Clinton. To quote the dialogue, John Ratcliffe, "So, just to be clear, when you say you got instructions from the DOJ, they told you outright, we are not prosecuting Hillary Clinton for gross negligence." Lisa Page, "That is correct." This was not an accident. This was a deliberate cover-up orchestrated at the highest levels. Clinton was meant to secure the presidency in 2016, ensuring the deep state's grip on America remained unchallenged. But when Trump won, their house of cards collapsed, sending them into full panic mode. Why did Obama go to such lengths to protect Clinton? Well, because her private email server contained secrets so explosive they could have destroyed the deep state, Obama himself, and other co-conspirators. These included emails proving illegal deals with foreign governments, especially Russia, Iran, and China, which included the Uranium One sale to Vladimir Putin. Attorney General Eric Holder also knew about and covered up the crimes. It is known that there was direct collusion between the Obama administration and foreign intelligence agencies to manipulate U.S. politics with unmistakable evidence of classified leaks to foreign actors in exchange for political favors. Had Clinton been prosecuted, the case wouldn't have stopped with her. It would have led straight to Obama himself. And why? Because discovery is one hell of a weapon in a courtroom. The FBI was weaponized under Obama to serve the Democratic Party. While Clinton was shielded from justice, the Bureau focused its efforts on manufacturing crimes against Donald Trump. They launched the Russia collusion hoax, fabricating evidence to cripple Trump's presidency, again to divert attention from Hillary. They allegedly spied on his campaign using FISA warrants based on false information, including perjury to the court and faked documents to the FISA court on 4 occasions, led by Comey. The mainstream media played its role perfectly. Instead of reporting the truth, they became the deep state's propaganda arm. Hillary was the darling of the liberal media. They dismissed Clinton's email scandal as a nothing burger. The same criminals in the Justice Department, FBI, NSA, and CIA who protected Hillary Clinton tried to destroy Trump to benefit Hillary and to protect their own illegal activity. Now, with the truth out, the media has gone silent, as has Hillary. Hopefully, the current DOJ under Pam Bondi will revisit those issues. But Clinton's exoneration by Comey, who in fact had no such authority to do so, he was not the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch was only the beginning. The moment Trump stepped onto the political stage, the deep state led by Hillary launched a full-scale assault. They engineered the 2020 election to ensure he was removed from office. See our video on election fraud. Hillary, Obama, the DNC, and other prominent Democrats, to include then-current and former heads of the various intelligence agencies, spied on his campaign, his presidency, and indicted many in his cabinet. Those cases have since been overturned or dismissed. But what about those many years of Russia collusion allegations, lying politicians like Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell stating that they had evidence that both the Mueller and Durham reports proved was all a hoax? What is now known is that Mark Elias of Seattle-based law firm Perkins Coie paid Fusion GPS for the opposition Trump research. Elias worked with former White House counsel Robert Bauer, who was also a partner at Perkins Coie with Hillary, Obama, and Democratic Party ties. From June 2015 to December 2016, Perkins Coie took in $5.4 million from the DNC and another $12.4 million from the Clinton campaign as legal fees. Elias secretly paid Fusion GPS for its so-called research from the legal fees that Hillary Clinton and the DNC paid. Fusion GPS then hired a former British spy named Christopher Steele, who previously headed British intelligence agency MI6's Russian desk, paying him $168,000. Using his many Russian contacts, Steele put together a Trump dossier filled with rumors, innuendos, and some outright lies, hoping to derail Trump in a last-minute campaign blitz. None of it was disclosed in Federal Election Commission filings as required by law, as all expenditures must be displayed, so federal charges were viable. Then miraculously, that dossier was given to both the media and the FBI. Targeting a political presidential candidate in this way was a major conspiracy and crime that would dwarf Watergate in its dimensions. Trump getting elected in 2024 brought these crimes to light, and Hillary now has new problems. The facts are out. The FBI refused to cover leaked documents proving Obama's direct orders to protect her, as proven by Page and others who were involved. They pushed every fabricated charge against Trump while burying the real crimes of the Democratic elite and Hillary Clinton. During these years, Hillary and Bill Clinton ran one of the most successful scams in American history. The Clinton Foundation, set up by their friend Jeffrey Epstein, raked in hundreds of millions of dollars as a charity that only operated as a private bank account. See our video on the Clinton Foundation. Now, with the Jeffrey Epstein files being released en masse, the Clintons have refused to comply with congressional subpoenas to appear under oath to explain themselves. Chairman James Comer promised to file contempt charges, which would lead to jail time. From January 21st to the 23rd, 2026, the Oversight Committee publicly pushed contempt resolutions for failing to comply with subpoenas for depositions. Recently, under pressure, the Clintons reversed their opposition and agreed to appear. Remember, Trump associates Steve Bannon and Roger Stone, among others, were convicted and sent to federal prison for contempt, a fate that former Obama administration Attorney General Eric Holder avoided due to Operation Fast and Furious because Democrats held sway in the House. And to see our video on that subject. The Justice Department now must decide whether to prosecute the Clintons. 9 Democrats joined Republicans to advance the contempt resolution against Bill Clinton. If the individual is prosecuted and convicted, violations of 18 U.S.C. 192 are punishable by a fine of up to $100,000 and imprisonment for not less than 1 month nor more than 12 months. The federal sentencing guidelines also inform the severity of the penalties. It seems only fair since Comey and his Obama-driven FBI went after Trump officials, in particular, retired Army General Michael Flynn, whom they charged with making a false statement and violating the Hatch Act, both charges being false. Hillary could also be asked about her previous crimes and perjuries, including her server and her role and testimony under oath regarding Benghazi. Under oath, she would have to admit to lying previously or admit to lying at the time of her present hearing. The result would see her fined under this title or imprisoned for not more than 5 years or both. The Clintons have asked to have a closed-door, off-the-books meeting, as opposed to a public or even private deposition under oath, because they know it would go very badly. And they also know that no question is going to be asked of them by Comer and his panel that they don't already have the answers to. The people demanding the hearing are not looking for answers. They have them. They are looking for proof of previous criminal activity, to include previous perjury, of which there is plenty of evidence, and Hillary and Bill Clinton know it. Thank you for watching this episode of Forgotten History. If you liked what you saw, please click like, share, and subscribe. And if you would like to assist with the ever-increasing cost of production, please consider becoming a channel member and joining our Patreon page.